I got to go to test the limits of the human body and the human spirit, and someone else doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
That and then we could talk about it. That exchange also is a beautiful. We got to do it together, and you don't have to die to do it. We can, right? We can just share this living experience beautifully.
Prepare your ears, humans. Happy, Sad, Confused begins now.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. I'm Josh. If you can see my background, that's my cute dog Lucy, and that's really all you need to know. Oh, you should probably also know that Jeremy Renner is the guest on today's episode of Happy, Sad, Confused. He is back, third time on the podcast, and this time talking about his new memoir about the aftermath of that crazy incident 2+ years ago that nearly made us lose Jeremy Renner. He's back. He's doing great. And this is a really cool conversation. So that's the main event on the pod today. I do want to mention some really cool events, some of which have just been announced. So get in on this. All the information, as always, go to patreon.com/happysadconfused for early access and discount codes and merch and all that kind of fun stuff. But get a load of this in terms of live events. The new one, let's lead with the new one that just got announced because this is really special. I'm coming back to LA. LA folks, mark your calendars. Get your tickets now. June 3rd with Gary Oldman. I am so excited to say that. Gary Oldman, kind of my favorite actor of all time, maybe? I don't know. He's certainly top 3. He's a legend. I don't need to list the credits, but I'll list the credits. I don't know. From Sid Vicious to Jim Gordon to Sirius Black to Winston Churchill. This is just off the top of my head. We haven't talked about The Professional or Fifth Element, Slow Horses. The man is a chameleon, a consummate professional, a sweet, sweet man, and a great interview. I've talked to him a couple times, but never for a live event in Los Angeles. This is only our second live Los Angeles event. So if you are in that area and have wanted to see me do my thing with a great guest, get in on it, guys. June 3rd, 7 p.m. Yeah, it's going to be back at the Fine Arts Theater where we did our event with Tom Hiddleston last year. Tickets are now on sale. The link is in the show notes. Come on out. Say hi to me and Gary. It's going to be huge. It's going to be awesome. Okay. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm excited. Also in New York, as always, I'm doing my thing. Lots of things coming up. On next Monday night, I'm chatting with Alexander Skarsgård for his new series, Murderbot. Always a delight. That'll be great. And then next Wednesday night, we're going to be chatting all things Star Wars with Tony Gilroy. Andor. Talk about great shows. Doesn't get any better than that. So that'll be right after the finale of Andor as well. So come on out if you're a Star Wars fan, if you're in New York and you want to see me do my thing and hear about Star Wars. This is the time. I think those are the major things. Okay, so yes, a little more context for Jeremy Renner before we get into that. Spent kind of a day with Jeremy last week on it was actually the day of the release of his book. He was in New York for 36 hours, basically, and came in to do a couple talk shows, to do the podcast. We also did a live event, which was really cool. That wasn't recorded as far as I know, but it was at Gramercy Theater in New York City with a really that was a really emotional one. That was crazy. I mean, this is a book about Jeremy dying. I mean, he says he died. He died on New Year's Day, 2023. This 14,000-pound snowcat just tramples him as he's trying to save his nephew. And as you can imagine, his body was a wreck, an absolute wreck. It's a miracle that he is alive and he is functioning and can kick my ass. Like it's kind of amazing. And this book is really, it definitely feels, certainly emotional and sad at times, but also very honest and inspiring and funny. It retains his sense of humor. So, and it's a quick read too, by the way. So check it out. It's called My Next Breath. And yeah, this conversation will serve as a good, sense of what it's all about. But really interesting read. Anyway, this conversation is great. We talk a lot about the accident, the aftermath, the recovery, but also we do hit upon some fun movie stuff. Of course, talk about his Marvel past, present, and future. His Knives Out appearance. For those that saw my podcast with him a year ago, he was one of those bastards that lied to me, lied to my face. I asked him about, if you don't remember, Glass Onion. There's a joke in there where the Jeremy Renner hot sauce figures heavily into the plot. And I mentioned that to him and said, like, you screwed yourself, dude. You can't be in a Knives Out movie, obviously, because it's canon. Jeremy Renner exists. He laughed, had a great response, and then less than two days later, it was announced in all the trades that Jeremy Renner was cast in the new Knives Out movie. So we reckon with that lie. Just as I reckoned with Lewis Pullman's lies last week. This is what we do around here. Hollywood actors, you are accountable for the lies you tell me. Anyway, yeah, lots of good stuff in this one. Enjoy my conversation with Jeremy Renner.
Mr. Jeremy Renner, it's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to be seen, brother.
This is kind of an opening day for you. A little bit of a different opening day.
Yeah.
We're talking about your book, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I know, how about that?
My Next Breath is the book. Is this compared at all to, like, would you rather be talking about Hansel and Gretel 2 than than a memoir about the most horrific times in your life?
Yeah, this is a wonderful sort of new thing, you know, to talk nonfiction to, first of all, have something to write about, you know. It's one thing good about dying. I have something to write about.
I've got material.
I'm interesting all of a sudden.
You were always interesting. This is particularly interesting, I will say that.
Particularly interesting, yeah. How would you overcome it, right? I think people try to put themselves in maybe my place. Maybe it makes it interesting. But yeah, it's a wonderful milestone, sort of celebration of life and love. And like I was saying earlier to you, it's like, you know, normally it's promoting a movie. Yeah. You got to be sort of quiet about things. You don't want to spoil things. It's the opposite. We know the ending already.
I've read it. I know everything.
Right? And we know the ending, so you can go through it's quite harrowing and dramatic in its own sort of truths, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and here it is in front of you. You know, there's something kind of hopeful about it.
It's going to be a source of hope for a lot of people. It's really well done. I hear you throughout this. Like some memoirs, you read it, you're like, how much were they really behind the typewriter or whatever talking? This feels Renner. Like I hear your voice when I'm reading this. So for good or for bad.
Yeah.
But talk to me, man. I mean, look, this has obviously been very well documented. That being said, like reading this, I discovered a lot I didn't know. It's intense, though. It's intense for you, number one, to like really go into the minutia of what happened. I don't know, did you kind of know what you were getting into? It must have been a momentous decision for you to say, yes, I'm going to double down. I'm going to really commit to telling the story and think it through. And
yeah, there's a lot of things that happened, brother, during the recovery. I mean, very early on, initially, there was like ideas of like just sort of capturing all of it just on video to make so maybe a documentary. Like all this stuff was like talked about, and ultimately did nothing. And like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna. It requires 100% of my energy, 100% of every minute, every day to get better. I can't even have any. I can't have an idea of I have to wait to. No, I'm not. You know what I mean? So, but the idea of a book did come up early on of maybe it being kind of a healing sort of cathartic process, and then I just thought it was too overwhelming. It was that first summer, the first 6 months after the incident, and I considered doing it, but then I'm like, it's something I've never done before. I'm not an author. It might have been too early on in things and lessons learned so far. I don't know. It was just a little overwhelming for me. But then but I did write an album about it. So I did music. Then once the book idea came around, sorry.
You want to get some water? Is there any water?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay. 45 minutes. I don't want you choking for the next. If there's one thing I've learned, it's breathing is important to you.
Yeah. So so the book idea was always an interesting idea, but then once we found an idea of how we can do it and so there was a ghostwriter helped me sort of with the structure of it, because I've never written a book, so he was great at that.
Because there are 1,000 different ways to do this and what.
And then how to focus on it. So just about the accident, and then maybe pontificate how or why I was prepared or not prepared, and so it came in a series of just sort of chats like we would chat like we're doing today.
Right.
And the things that will come up, and as I would explain to fresh ears about the incident or the things learned, and it's all very fresh in my body and my mind, as even still is to this day. It doesn't really go away, and so that part was the easier part, I suppose. It's 2, 3, 4 hours every day, just sitting and talking, writing on my own, notating, did like dictaphone sort of thing, and have it translated. That helped a lot, speed up the process.
Yeah.
And then, so it was like 6 months of doing that, and then also did a lot of talks to schools and to companies, and just about the kind of experience. And I'm always gathering more data, more information, more knowledge of what's seated in my brain and my soul and my spirit and my cells, because unless I talk about it, it's just kind of living in it. And otherwise, if I didn't share it, I was just going to keep getting better, and that's going to live there. So it was really important for me to kind of put it out and be on a tangible thing like a book. It's tangible, it exists. Even when I die, that still exists.
Right.
This conversation's dead after we stopped talking,
Yeah.
So there was something fascinating about that narrative and exploring writing a book.
I would also imagine, just in the course of talking about it over and over again, you're almost like recalling things maybe you didn't even remember you recalled,
Correct.
because it is such a traumatic event. I'm actually frankly surprised you remember as much as you do. But I guess I'm just going through the motions of like talking it through. Did things like kind of emerge through conversation that you didn't even realize you remembered?
Yeah, because you're not talking about it in real time. Living through it in real time is one thing, but you didn't have time, 6 months, let's say, or whatever, 2 months or 3 months or a year in between it. You're reflecting back on it and sharing it in great detail, mind you. I had to go he says,
minute by minute.
and it was great.
Yeah.
And thanks to the ghostwriter to really kind of engage in a really know it. You just go, let me go second by second then.
Yeah.
You really want to get into this, buddy?
Slow
Like,
this
all right,
down.
I'm going to give you
All
second
right.
by second. I'm going to give you every sound, what it sounds like to have your skull crunched, right? He's like, okay, we're going there. We got the first, he's like, it's 45 minutes on the ice. And I think it took us like 2 hours to get through the first 5 minutes on the ice. I'm like, let's take a break, come back tomorrow. We're both like sobbing, like white knuckling through this thing. But in doing it in reflection and not in real time, like I was saying it in real time, you unearth like civilizations of information, right? This data of like that's where the idea of Lamaze came in, right? That he's like, you didn't think there would be a particular interesting topic to bring into my next breath as the book?
Well, okay,
And he's
educate
like,
the
"Whoa."
audience. This connects to your mom. To explain
Yeah,
this.
so Lamaze is a breathing technique to use to mitigate pain when you're giving birth, when a woman gives birth. And my mom took me into to learn Lamaze, but not really to do that. She just needed to look after me. She said, you're not going to soccer practice. Put down your cleats, grab a pillow, and we're going to go to the YMCA. I'm like, God, what are we doing? What's going on? And we're laying on the ground with a bunch of other ladies, and we're doing these breathing techniques. It's like the weirdest thing ever. And I thought that was kind of odd and boring at the time until the screen comes down, and then we're watching like this midwife birth at home. This lady's in the bathtub, water's exploding out of this thing, and I'm like, wow, it's like horrified, traumatic.
Yeah.
But knowing that, the 12-year-old mind, the trauma that came from that, quickly realizing, that we're using these breaths, and when I learned what those breaths were for, I always thought it was really special with my mom, with her belly and a thing, and learning about, really where babies come from in a really real-time way. And I was the firstborn son of 7 kids, so it was a very special moment for me and my mom. And then not knowing what Lamaze breathing really meant to me, not till later on in life. As a young man, it became important. Like conscious breath became a very important thing. How powerful conscious breath is. That it stemmed from Lamaze. So unearthing that story and sharing what happened under the snowcat became essential as a foundation for this book, and tying in all the breadcrumbs that led me to that moment under the snowcat.
Right, because that's the whole thing. It's not just about this moment in time. It does connects to everything. I mean, do you remember telling your mom, by the way, at a certain point, like, by the way, what you taught me?
No,
that must have
for
hit
sure.
her.
Yeah, early on, I was probably 20 years old, when I moved to LA, and I was studying psychology more. I was doing therapy and using breath work and doing all this stuff, and it became very important and very essential. And I used, I made placards that said, "Don't forget to breathe." My flip phone said on the screen said, "Don't forget to breathe." That because the conscious breath for me, as an auditioning, helped me like not get nervous.
Sure.
Right. I used it to mitigate all my anxiety and fears that way. And I told Mom, like, this is like so important. And I did relay back, it was kind of the biggest, most important thing that my mom ever gave me. I let her know at a very young age, because I know how special that was for her and I. That she didn't do that with any of her other kids.
Crazy.
Because I'm her favorite.
So that begs the question. Yeah, obviously. So this begs the question. So where are you at on fate? Are you a believer in like things are meant to be for a reason?
Oh.
Mom taught me Lamaze out of all the kids. I was the one on that snowcat that day. I had a story to tell people.
No, I don't know, man. If it's fate is like, is it predestined? Is it predetermined? You know, I don't think life is predetermined. I think life is just a remedial version of our spirit. Mm-hmm. It's a very limited. Life is very limited in this body.
Yep.
On this spinning rock, you know. So I think this is just a Truman Show version of our spirit.
Yeah.
And so, no, I don't think it's predetermined. I just think it's experiential, and it's a beautiful learning process.
I feel like the most Jeremy Renner thing in this book is what you said, your last potential words as this was all going down. What did you scream as you were trying
Not
to
today,
say?
motherfucker.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Well, I was gonna have my nephew die. Like, I'm not gonna let him get crushed. You know, it's not happening. It's not happening. No way. And I'd do it again.
Yeah.
For that reason. You know, it's just there's no way. No way. Out of my dime. Out of my time. Not my responsibility. I'm not doing this to him. So
This must have deepened and changed so many different relationships in your life.
every single one of them.
So, I mean, we talked last time when we spoke a year ago. You talked about like Mackie being one of the first people
Yeah.
to come by. Obviously, your family's around.
Yeah.
In the book, you talk about Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Rudd literally gets in bed at the hospital.
Yeah. He came and visited me twice. Yeah.
So
it was awesome.
So how has that changed? I don't know. How has that deepened different relationships in your life? Would you say?
All of them. You know, it's that it didn't just happen to me.
Right.
You know, and what happened to me is beautiful, and the beautiful things happen to everybody else too. The deepening of the love, the deepening of the understanding of their own fertility of their life. Everybody can have a different perspective, and I don't go into asking everybody how their life has changed beyond our relationship, but I know it does. Because if it changes ours, it changes. You consider things differently.
Yeah.
I got to go to test the limits of the human body and the human spirit, and someone else doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And then we could talk about it. That exchange also is a beautiful. We got to do it together.
Yeah.
And you don't have to die to do it. We can
Right.
we can just share this living experience beautifully, and the depth of love that I already had in my family ran deep, and it's just undeniable.
Yeah.
And that bleeds into every other relationship I've had, and no matter how much time I've spent with somebody or not, it's when you're laying in a hospital bed with somebody, and it's such the greatest form of intimacy you could really kind of have.
Right. Strips away all the bullshit. It's just sort of like you're just like you can't. You're just there.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Yeah. And it's a way. All that is it's demonstrative of love.
Yeah.
That's all it is, and that's all that matters, and that's all you take with you. So all these love moments, right? That's the only thing I'm going to put myself in sort of places too, where love can exist as the star of the room, as the star of the conversation, as the star of every action I do. Like
Right.
love has to coexist or be the fuel behind it all. Otherwise, what am I doing? Because you're not taking it with me. So like I'm just on borrowed time, doing something that it's not valuable. So I find such a lightness in the perspective, in sharing the perspective with loved ones, and sharing the love with loved ones, sharing it with you. You know, you'd be a loved one, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, pure space to be, and it's again forever changed or simplified. I don't think it's changed. It's only simplified and clarified.
Right.
For me and for others in my life.
It seems like you were already kind of that guy.
Yeah,
that kind of like
that's
stripped
why.
away
That's why I
the
say
BS.
it's not changed. It's not changed.
But it has even just honed it, even like laser focused.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't have time. What are we doing here? Like,
Correct.
Let's talk about human connection and love, and not worry about I didn't get a venti when I wanted a grande.
That's right. That's right.
Although that's really annoying. It's really,
exactly. Or, you know, when we get to that place, let's take a moment, take a breath maybe,
Right.
and then zoom out a little bit
Yep.
and find out what's really important here.
Yep.
Where's the real value? Let's not stress about
Yep.
these sorts of things in life. You know, it's just not worth it.
And something I always connect with you about is your sense of humor. And we talked about your kind of gallows humor and during this whole incident, as you call it.
Yeah.
Hallucinations you talk about. Why is Jamie Foxx in your dreams?
Yeah.
Of
Well,
all the
because-
people, Jamie Foxx pops up.
Yeah, because during my recovery, he got into a situation, and I knew about that. I mean,
Okay.
when you're sitting in a hospital bed, but even though I'm at home, you're kind of, you know, your computer's there all the time. It's just kind of my form of entertainment on my phone. Sorry. And so, yeah, I heard about his incident. So yeah, and he's a friend of mine too. So I just had a lot of dreams about him, sort of in awake dreams as well. we were doing lots of things. We were snowmobiling. Me and Jamie were
a great time.
we were having lots of chats. Oxycontin, high as a kite type of chats. But it was. I think it was just sort of a way to sort of. Kind of connect and you know, it's a lonely space when you're laying in a bed and recovering. No matter how much love you have around you and support you have around you and great doctors and just, you know, everything, you know, a lot of support, it's still me that has to get better.
Yes.
And no matter if there's a physical therapist there, they do this, you know, you still have to do it. You still have to be the force behind it all. And so it's a lonely space. So the Jamie Foxx of it all was because he's like in a hospital bed next to me, even though he wasn't, right?
Right.
So I'd have dreams about him, and I'd have waking dreams and talking to him as he was like in the hospital room with me, and share, because we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why Jamie Foxx sort of came up into the narrative of my recovery, high or not.
Right. I mean, talking about kind of being, yes, you're surrounded by love, but also being in your own head. There's a lot of time to think about what life is even going to be, like, because it's a long recovery, and it's, as we talked before, it's a lifelong recovery. This is not this. There's no endpoint to this.
Yeah.
And you must have spent a lot of time thinking about, like, what is this life physically going to be? What am I going to be capable of? Can I walk? Can I run? Can I hug my daughter?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
anytime those questions came up, the answer came very quickly, and most of the time the answer didn't matter.
Yeah. It's just
The answer
important to
is
be,
it doesn't matter.
Whatever life
am
is,
I
it's
going to
gonna be
work
a
again
life.
as an actor?
Yep.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
The answer is it doesn't matter. It doesn't have value. So far in the future, you got to put a foot down first, and then another foot in front of it, and then again, and then you're walking. So get a foot down first, then think about where you're going to be walking to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What direction you're going. So that's where I was, because everything was busted. So I had to start in a very, very simple space all the time. No matter, of course I would consider all the things in life.
Yeah.
You know, am I gonna, you know, early on there's different stages of like, am I just gonna be a petri dish? Like, am I just gonna be like on a machine and all that sort of stuff? Then it's to, you know, all the things. And every time I would get ahead of myself with these questions, it's quickly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, slow it down.
I'm here, I'm doing good,
Yeah.
right? I keep it simple. And
My brain's working,
Yeah,
I can see,
yeah.
I can feel.
Oversimplify life,
Yeah.
keep it simple,
Yeah.
and keep moving forward. Keep, you know, setting goals for myself, setting like milestones, and not reach too far, so it keeps my confidence up high.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing this to myself, whatever I can do, because there's setbacks, and you're going to get setbacks, and you need to stay confident, you need to stay positive. No one's going to be your cheerleader and be like, you're doing great. I'm like, yeah. If I don't feel like I'm doing great, then I don't care what you got to say. You know what I mean? I have to love myself enough to put myself in a position to get through the hardships and the obstacles ahead of me. And I continue to do that, and I helped by not looking too far ahead, simplifying my life and giving myself, put myself in a place to succeed. And it gets better. You can zoom out, right?
Yeah.
As I get healthier and I get stronger, and mentally, physically, spiritually, I can take more things in.
And know that there will be setbacks, that it's not a straight line.
Yeah,
like
and that it is a forever thing, right?
Yeah.
And that I accepted that. That was a hard pill to swallow, while I'm like getting through my stages of like, oh, I'm getting up, now I'm sitting up.
So when does this end again, guys?
Yeah,
Oh, it
my
never
mom
ends.
asked that to my physical therapist up in the next room. And I was on a walker at that point.
Yeah.
I was on like a treadmill that called the Boost treadmill that kind of lifted a lot of my body weight so I could walk proper without all my body weight. So I could walk faster, that kind of thing. And then I overheard them saying, when do you think he's going to fully recover? And he says, like, he'll be doing this for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And that gut punch to that.
Had they said that to you, that, or that was kind of
No,
like,
they didn't say it to me.
Wow.
No, they didn't say it to me. And I was like, And he's like, you know what? He's right. He's right. But it just won't be in this form. It'll be in a different form. It won't, I'll recover. I'll be 150%. But I just had what he meant by that. And I know him because I know him so well, is that I'm going to have to attend to these joints and these issues and these tendons and all these sort of things. I'm like, well, yeah, and also 54 now, I'd have to do it anyway.
Well, I was going to say, by the way, that's not unique to you. That's called the human experience.
That's right. You know what I mean? That's just called getting old, man. You got to stretch. You got to think like, okay.
I'm not feeling so good right now.
And now
I'm
it's just a
doing
primary sort of focus on my life, and then it needs to be.
Yeah.
So again, thankfully, I got run over by that snowcat because now I use that as a primary sort of focus of my life is my physical health.
Yeah.
And I'll live a happier life because of it. And I really shouldn't because I got crushed and I'm titanium. But I just make it a focus for me. And that's also hard too, brother, to give focus on me. As a father,
right.
as someone who's a caregiver, as the oldest of 7 in my family, and I look after a lot of people, and it's always everyone else sort of first. And because I don't really need much, so I'll do stuff for me, but I don't really need much, man. I brush my teeth and get some sleep. That's about all what I need. So
It's also interesting that I have this conversation with actors all the time about what they're defined by. Like what's going to be the first line of their obituary, and you've rewritten what it eventually will be 50 years from now, because there must have been there was a time where it was like from Hawkeye, whatever, 2-time Oscar nominee.
Right.
It's also going to be now, survivor, inspiration, the guy that survived that insane incident.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that? Like it sounds like that's probably almost a source of pride for you now that you are as well known for what you've meant to other people as the acting now.
Well, that's another great gift again that came from it as well. Obviously not wanting this to be this is a very private moment that happened in my life.
Yeah.
And it happened on my driveway with my nephew, and it's a private family experience, and it, unbeknownst to me, because I was out for it, it became quite a big news thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't private about it, and I'm glad it wasn't. If I had the choice in it, if I was on the ice, like, hey, do you want anybody to know about this? I'm like, fuck no. My answer. Sure. You got some duct tape for this eye?
Good as no one will notice, right?
But then I'm so glad that it was kind of forced upon me and forced my hand to make this a shared experience.
Yeah.
Because in doing so, the public opened the avenue for we're interested in you as a man and not what you do for a living.
Right.
Or what you're overcoming, the obstacles that you're overcoming, those hurdles. And they humanized me. I was already human. I'm just a kid from Modesto, California.
Yeah.
And that's one of the more beautiful things that ever happened. And it's created a great relationship to be famous for something that I am and not that I do.
Right.
And it's pretty exquisite. And I sleep really well at night having that. I feel much more vulnerable in life. I don't have to have a dual life or feel like I have to or put on a face I can just be, and I feel accepted or at least seen and witnessed.
Yeah.
In the right way.
It's also, this is a momentous time. Not only are we at the publishing date for this book, 30 years of screen acting.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
30 years ago,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the official debut, but National Lampoon's what was it? Dazed.
Senior
Senior
trip.
trip.
Senior
Excuse me. It's the one Jeremy Renner movie I have not studied.
That was my first time on camera. That was my very first job.
I looked back at the photo, by the way. You look more like a Dawson's Creek lead.
Yeah,
You're like
yeah.
James, like
Yeah.
beautiful wavy blonde hair.
Yeah, that's my James Vanderbeek days, you know.
Were you like up for CW shows? Was that your lane?
Dude, this is the 90s. Look at Matt Damon at that time. We had the same hair.
True.
That's right. And we're all doing pretty well, I think.
Both became Bourne characters. Yeah, there you go. You'll know me a little bit of just like on the acting side. So like through this 30-year journey, you know, we've talked about different moments in that career, you know, whether it's Dahmer or Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
The 1-2 punch I always think about is those 2 Oscar nominations.
Oh, yeah.
2 years in a row.
Crazy.
Was it crazy at the time? Like 2 Oscar ceremonies, I don't know if necessarily, like, you know, by then you kind of know who's going to win or not, but like,
Yeah.
what do you remember about going to the Oscars back-to-back years and kind of being officially invited to the club?
That was great. I just remember being pretty exhausting. You're gallivanting around the planet a lot. I mean, it was a full-time job in itself. You know, it's out there campaigning, going to so many screenings and so many things. You're not sleeping very much. I got great advice from Charlize, who I'd worked with in North Country.
Yeah.
And she had great advice, and she just sort of like, you know, just kind of enjoy each moment. Don't, because it's overwhelming. It's lots of pressing at you. There's a lot of attention coming at you, and it's something it stuck with me. And I just stayed very, very pure in that moment. If I, you know, the carpets, right, the thing, and all the microphones.
But stay.
I'm like, I'm with this person. I'm not worried about anything else. Whoever's pulling me and tucking me and I'm gonna talk with you, spend my time with you, and just be honest as I can, and then move on to the next.
Yeah.
Nice talking with you.
I mean, we might as well
Right?
just be talking about your recovery again. This is the same conversation.
It's the same kind of thing. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. To remain very, very, very present, so you don't get overwhelmed with it, because it can be. Like anything applies to like with the book. It's the same kind of thing. Oversimplifying it, keep it simple, and it can get you through some of those times. And it was a glorious time. I got to take my mom as my date, both years. Like, how cool is that? Again, I'm her favorite.
We get it. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
When you think back of the early days, when you first met with Feige in the Marvel gag, how much of a roadmap did he give you? Like, did you know, you couldn't have known exactly what you were getting into, but like...
No, really, no. What we had is like, you know, there's Iron Mans. I think there's a couple Iron Mans are out at the time.
Right.
And I was like, dude, I'm a huge fan of that. Obviously, Downey and what they did, they made it so kind of plausible almost, right? So I'm like, this is great. And then I was a little concerned because what I told him was like, look, I get the Iron Man thing and how you made that sort of realistic. Like, how are you going to make Fabio with a hammer fly around and make that interesting? I don't get it.
Right.
Thor. And like, so they're making that, and they were laughing, whatever.
And they showed you a picture of Hemsworth. They're like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then, but they were showing me sort of the version of the Avengers of Hawkeye that were a little bit more sort of tactile and not the guy with the purple shorts and the purple things and the things, right? I'm like, okay, maybe I can grab onto that as a more grounded type of superhero with no superpowers. Okay, I kind of like that. So I just kind of went into that, but no idea kind of where it's going. Just sort of, you know, go do the Thor thing. And I just made the quick appearance in Thor.
Crazy.
And they still couldn't figure out, you know, that I'm left-handed, so they gave me the wrong bow, so I'm having to do it the wrong way. Even in the first Avengers, they still gave me the wrong. I'm like, God, you're not figuring this out yet? You know, I'm left-handed.
Did you have second thoughts? I mean, I remember way back when you weren't so thrilled with how they used you, obviously, at first in Avengers.
Well,
like,
the first Avengers, well, only
quiz.
because like I'm trying to figure out the character.
Yes.
And they take the character away like in the first scene I do. I become like Loki's zombie.
Yeah.
You know, and become a bad guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, I didn't get to find out anything about my character whatsoever.
Right.
You know what I
You
mean?
got there. It took a little time.
It took a minute, right? So yeah, no, but yeah, and then it's sort of and it's also a long process. You know, making movies and it takes a year to make it, and you know it's time to come out and you do another one. It's like I'm still by the second Avengers, I'm still trying to figure out. I think I'm still trying to figure out Hawkeye. You know, but you don't get those opportunities in sort of serial movies like this, right?
Everyone's
Typically.
fighting for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and
of
especially on
character
big ensembles as well. So there's not a lot of opportunity to grab onto a lot of data in this world. It's a very foreign world to me too. The whole superhero world and the comic world, and I always wanted to do it justice and give it truth and make it fun and that camaraderie in that cast is just the greatest thing in it, you know.
One thing I was surprised by relating to the book is like you talk, the way you put it is that you kind of say to Marvel, I'd like to step away, like that you kind of said to them, it's okay for me to step away from the Avengers movies. Like, was there a point where you sort of said to Feige and company, like, I need to focus on other things? I mean, obviously you did the Hawkeye series, so like you've been active still in recent years.
Yeah.
But I don't know, has that been a conversation with Marvel?
No,
how
I think
much
it's more the willingness to step away from things.
Okay.
Because like my daughter's a priority,
Yeah.
and if I'm not gonna, it's not even a choice. Like I'm gonna be a father to my daughter.
Yeah.
Like if they're gonna keep shooting in London or I'm like it's not gonna work. I had to walk away from Tom Cruise, the Mission Impossibles.
Right.
You know, sadly, and I love Tom. I love doing those movies. So fun, but I couldn't. I had to really be a dad. They're still shooting 7 and 8 right now. I just talked to Wade, one of the stunt guys, and like it took 5 years. I'm like, I have to be a dad. I can't go do that, right? And God bless them, and I love that. I wish I could do that. I just can't. I love the choice I made. I love being a dad.
Yeah.
It's the best role I've ever had and always will have, and nothing compares to it. And when you leave life with that sort of clarity,
Yes.
then I'll take the breadcrumbs of whatever roles I get. And by the way, they're not bad breadcrumbs.
You're doing all right. We'll get to one in
pretty
particular
good.
in a second,
Yeah,
by the way.
So I mean, I'm still able to work and still be a dad, and that's. And now as she's a little bit older, I can make better choices, do different choices to.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe I can do a Hawkeye again and other
Right.
things, and she gets a little bit more involved.
Right. And she
Yeah.
has more autonomy. She's going to be a teenager before you know it.
Yeah,
and like,
if she's 12 now,
Yeah.
so she's really kind of into her friends more than dad. So.
I saw your eyes go dead just for a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. She'll be back. She'll be back.
Okay, let me ask you a couple tough questions you can bat away. There are rumors that there's going to be another season of Hawkeye, and it might be kind of raid style, single location, Clint's brother. Any truth to these rumors?
Maybe some of that's true in there. I don't know. There's we got into it a little bit, sort of like story-wise and stuff, and actually just doing another season. And that there was that everyone's interested in it. I'm like, yeah, of course, man. I would want to say no to that. I think there's a lot of ideas that they still got to figure a lot of things out.
Okay.
And I'm always game to do it, man. It's a fun world, and I love being a part of it. And also, really selfishly, to me, I like the currency of doing it because what it means to the kids in the foundation that I run.
That's huge.
Yeah. So it's the cool factor. And keeping that pretty relevant in their minds, you know,
Right.
because you can kind of age out. These kids get older, and the new kids come in. They're like, "Who's this guy? And why does he have a bow and arrow?"
I'm a Thunderbolts fan. Wait a
it's like,
second.
get out of here! Hang on. But they say, like, you know, it's the cool factor of being
Yeah.
a really strong voice for these kids and a face for these kids, and give them a sense of pride that, you know, this sort of maybe unreachable type of characters now here at our camp, running the camp with us, and
Yeah.
you know, so even to me, that's what how special the Marvel universe is for me, is the access to and reach to kids.
Totally.
And that's the real value currency for me.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in the second season and Secret Wars.
Oh,
That's all I'm just gonna say. That's all I'm just gonna
Are
say.
you casting?
I'm authorized by the Russos to make you an offer at this moment.
I love it. They're all busy. They think they started production, didn't they?
They did. They just
Good on
started.
them.
Don't pretend like you don't know what's going on.
I just saw this post. I don't know anything. I don't. You know I'm a good liar, but
I do know. Okay, let's get to that. So we had a great conversation about a year ago. So great. I was joking with you about your hot sauce cameo in
that's
Glass
right.
Onion.
That's right.
And I said
That's
the one
right.
downside, Jeremy, thinking I'm so smart. One downside, obviously, is you can't be in a Knives Out movie because it's canon. Jeremy Renner is in that universe. And you laughed it away. You're like, oh, you're so right.
I know.
About 48 hours later, it hit deadline. Jeremy Renner cast.
Glenn Close.
So, do you want to apologize? What do you want to say
No,
for yourself?
I couldn't break it. You know, it'd break my legs, man. Someone else had to break the news.
Is it explained that, like, do you resemble Jeremy Renner in the film? I don't think Ryan can't just not acknowledge that Jeremy Renner doesn't exist in this universe and that you're playing a character in this universe.
I can't say anything. I can't. I don't know how he's using it or not using it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. He's such an interesting guy, Ryan. He's such a great, smart dude.
So
He knows,
smart.
yeah, he's so smart.
Way too nice for as smart
Yeah,
as he is.
yeah. That too. Yeah, and it's a guy that nothing ruffles his feathers.
Yeah.
But I think it's because when you know what you want, it's like, all right, fine. You get the white noise away and kind of.
So
it's pretty interesting.
Without revealing anything, I mean, the ensemble's awesome. What
Ensemble's
was it
awesome.
like? You know, you got
Yeah.
Brolin, you got Glenn Close, you got obviously Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor. What was it like to mix it up with that cast?
Yeah, that was the exciting part of being able to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's the main reason to do that, and obviously work with Ryan, and so what a great blessing, dude. Really excited to. I want to see it. I'm just excited to see it. It's because I have no idea. It's like a Marvel movie, really, because I don't know what the heck I did. It's a big ensemble, right?
Well, you read this full script.
Yeah, maybe. Did I?
Did you?
I don't know. Was there a script? Did I say anything? I don't know if I say anything in the movie. We'll see. I think it's a silent film.
Sure, what a jerk.
There is no script.
There are scripts to Kingstown, I think. You're in the middle of
There's
the new
scripts to
season.
Kingstown. I don't read those out.
How's it going? Because when I spoke to you at the end of last season, you talked about that was the first kind of big acting chunk you'd done after the accident.
That was a tough one. That was a tough road.
So what was it like this next, you're in the middle of it now, but how's it
Yeah.
been physically, emotionally, mentally? Do you have your bearings back as an actor? you feel?
It's a lot, much more mental acuity. All my focus still is on, I'm in Pittsburgh to recover, get better, get stronger. But it was like my hemoglobin levels in my blood were at 2, like that's blood of a dead man. And it sounds like a movie.
Wake Up Dead Man.
Yeah,
there it
you go.
is.
Blood of a dead man. Knives Out 4.
This man should be dead.
It's less fragile
Yeah.
this go around this season, and so I feel like I have a lot more personality on set or just in life. It's not just 100% focus on
Just getting
physicality,
physicality,
not feeling terrible, or
Yeah.
it takes a lot of mental attention to every joint, and I don't know. It was a lot, but
Yeah.
this year's is much stronger, much happier.
I got a challenge for you. I did this recently for the first time with Jack Black, who I can only do this with people that have amazing filmographies that can justify this. I'm going to give you the ultimate Jeremy Renner power rankings of films. You're going to have to choose among your own films.
Uh-oh.
You can base it on anything you want. The answers can change tomorrow, but for today,
Yeah.
for instance, if I pit Hurt Locker or Dahmer, which do you choose?
Hurt Locker.
Okay, I'm going to keep going. The Town or Wind River?
Wind River.
Avengers Endgame or Ghost Protocol?
Endgame.
Born Legacy or Arrival?
Ay. Ay. I'll go with Arrival just for as what it means in film, and
Okay. And now they're pitted against each other. Hurt Locker versus Wind River.
I'll go Wind River.
And then we have Endgame or Arrival.
I'll go Endgame.
And for all the marbles, Jeremy, it's going to be Endgame or Wind River. Who wins the Jeremy Renner contest?
I have to go with Endgame just because how culturally significant that is, and it required so many people and so many films to make that. 22 films to make that 23rd film. And, the grossing money and all that sort of stuff, but the outcome of that,
Yeah.
To be able to weep and laugh, and I mean, we all know what that movie is, right? It's insane.
Once in a
You go
lifetime.
watch a
It
movie.
doesn't make sense
you
of
can go
that
watch
movie.
the audience watching the movie,
Yeah.
and it's captivating.
Yeah.
You
The
know, I'm
degree
getting
of
chills
difficulty,
singing about
yeah,
it. It's like,
yeah.
it's like, wow, what like a movement in a lot of ways, and all over the world.
Yeah.
And so, just for that reason, I think it's that. Selfishly, would be Wind River.
I know Wind River, the
Just-
experience of it you
Yeah, because
loved.
working with Taylor on that is very intimate and wonderful shared experience. I love the narrative of that, and it being a voice for Indigenous women and
Yeah.
the crimes against them, and that's a character I'm closest to.
Right.
That's like me at my ranch, and
Yep. Yep.
it's very, very close to who I am. So for that reason, that's why Wind River's in the running.
I left out Senior Trip. I'm sorry. Should I swap that in somewhere?
Oh, yeah. And that guest star on CSI,
That's really the most personal role of my career. So where are you at going forward, career-wise, filming-wise, beyond shooting Hawkeye and Secret Wars, obviously? What are you what are you looking for? What you're going to finish Kingstown? Filmmakers on the short list? Where are your priorities acting-wise right now?
I'm actually excited to work. It's my daughter's allowing me to work more. She gives me permission to be able to work more. I have to then now ask myself, how much more do I want to work? How much energy?
Yeah.
What do I want to do?
Yeah.
Prioritize. Because, of course, if I allow myself to say yes to everything, then I'm not going to have a life.
Yeah. You did that once.
Yeah,
you said yes to a lot of
I've
things.
done that. Yeah. So I'm careful about what I say yes to.
Yeah.
As I always have, but I'm just but for a different reason, because I do want to live my life. I do have a foundation that's a high priority in my life that I want to keep running and be hands-on with. So I take it kind of day by day on it. I remain open to it, and the opportunities are more because of I can shoot more places now because my daughter's older.
Right.
She's busy with her friends in school and all that kind of thing. So I don't feel. We don't have to spend as much time. We can talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Like when they're little, they're like, you know what I mean? But now she's, we can speak eloquently. We talk. I can watch her. Like I'll be watching her volleyball game today.
Right.
And doing all that kind of stuff. So it's beautiful. So we don't feel like we're missing out on anything with each other.
It's also
so I'm excited. Yeah. So Kingstown for sure. I'll be doing. I'll probably end up doing another season.
Yeah.
This season's going to turn out really, really great. And so I know they'll want to continue. And so I think I'm happy to do another one of those. Happy to see Knives Out come out this year, and that's all I know as far as work. Because in the future, I'm open to some things, but I want to keep it to like maybe one, two jobs in the year. But one job a year, I think is plenty for me.
Yeah.
Because I want to enjoy my life too, and I want to enjoy my family. I want to enjoy my time. I want to enjoy all my hard work. I want to enjoy my recovery and getting better, because it does take time and it does take effort. And I want to, again, it also will only go to work back with, not just for a job. I don't want the job. I want to go share time with people.
Yeah.
So it is kind of dependent on who I get to share screen with, who I get to share the creative process with. Of course, new people are always like important to me, but like I just want to enjoy the experience.
Yeah. Well, there's also a nice sense of like, you don't have to prove anything.
Yeah,
at this point in your
I'm not going
too.
back. It'd be 135 degrees and a 100-pound bomb suit in the desert. The Hurt Locker 2's not happening. Still hurting? That's not happening.
It is a good title, though.
It's a good title. Still hurting. Right? So I don't think I'm doing that.
Right.
I just, because I did it. But it's just an idea and a joke.
Right.
This Catherine calls, hey, I got an idea. So Will James has gone back for another tour. Oh my God,
I can't think of anything more unlikely than Catherine Bigelow doing a sequel called Still Hurtin'. Like she's abandoned all artistic integrity
YouTube
whatsoever.
channel version of the. Yeah. But working with Catherine again, that'd be great. If we can find, I always want to do a silent film with Catherine.
She knows visual language.
But she's like an artist. She's like a painter, But she could just do like cool visuals, and I could tell a story without saying anything. And I think it'd be really cool.
She finally directed another movie after Detroit. She has one coming out this year.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, with Idris. It's like a White House thriller, I think.
Oh, wow.
I'm so all in. It's
okay.
Anything
Awesome.
she does.
Yeah. Awesome.
Another book in you, or is this one and done?
I don't know. If anything, it would be a children's book. Something a little lighter, little lighter fare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Not the illustrated version of this. We don't need pictures.
Yeah. Little Timmy under the snowcat. Don't be Timmy. Tiny,
This is bad when two people have this kind of sense of humor. One of us is okay, but
dark humor.
Congratulations, buddy. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy for all of us that we get this amazing story told this way, as only you can tell it.
Yeah.
And thanks as always for being so honest and open and spending an important day catching up with an idiot like me.
Yeah, dude, it's great to share it. And great to share it with you, and I'm glad we get to do a little bit more tonight and in depth. And again, this is it's all shared experiences, right? And that's where the value lies in me in my life is just those things.
Yeah.
And glad to get to share it with you, brother.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
We did it.
It's another edition of Happy, Sad, Confused. Remember to review, rate, and subscribe to this show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a big podcast person. I'm Daisy Ridley, and I definitely wasn't pressured to do this by Josh.